Being an empath played a huge part in me nearly taking my own life, and today being an empath is one of my greatest assets. In this video I want to explore exactly what has changed. First off, if you're new here, please remember to subscribe to this channel. I talk about my emotions, the ways that I feel, how I survive in this world in spite of them, and sometimes how I still try to thrive in this world in spite of some of them difficult feelings and difficult emotions. I explore all the kinds of topics. So if that feels like something that might be of benefit to you, then please remember to subscribe. So what is being an empath, and what do I mean when I say that I am an empath? Well, look, for me, in simple terms, I say that to be an empath means that I feel things very, very deeply, but I feel other people's emotions very deeply. For a long time, I constituted it to feeling everybody else's pain, but actually what it is feeling everyone else's emotions, really, because what I've realised and what I want to get onto is that I feel everyone's emotions on a real deep level. I actually go to the state of what other people are feeling. And so if I'm around somebody that's really struggling deeply, I tend to really struggle deeply. So it's not like an over compassionate feeling of just like, oh, you know, they must be really struggling. I'm like, oh my God, I feel their pain. It can be difficult. So a few things that being an empath means is that quite often for me, it can make boundaries difficult. Yeah, it can make setting boundaries difficult, because when you feel other people's pain all the time, yeah, it can mean that you get into this place where you want to heal everybody and you want to fix everybody and you want to make everything better for everybody because you're taking on their pain, and that can be relentless and it's difficult, and it can make you feel quite lonely and like you don't belong on this planet because you walk around and you're hypersensitive. Because what I know as well is that when I can feel other people's emotions and I can feel their pain, it means that I pick up on it as well. So I'm really hypersensitive. I can really feel like an energy when I walk into somebody's company, but you know, and with that can make being in large social situations tireless and kind of like really heavy, because I can feel how everybody's feeling when I walk into a room. And look, that's not actually, it's not some far-fetched concept. It just means that I'm really hyper-vigilant, hypersensitive to those feelings. And I think a lot of my following across social media are people that have had some particularly alcoholic parents. And I think this is common in a lot of us. And I guess that stems from when we were younger. Certainly I know I took on that role of trying to make sure everybody was all right all the time. And I remember as a child I used to suffer terribly from headaches, and you know, every time we went on holiday I suffered with headaches, and what I realise now is that I was so stressed and so worried about everybody else and what everybody else was feeling, and worried about whether there was going to be arguments or disruption, that I took it all upon myself, and it was just relentless, and that's why I ended up with these headaches, right? And so as I grew up, because I was very sensitive, and it meant that I was very thoughtful all the time, I always struggle with small talk. Yeah, I want, you know, if somebody's indulging me in small talk, I find it very difficult to stay connected to the conversation. My mind will wander because I'm picking up on all these things so deeply all the time. And what that meant is that I ran away from that a lot in my life. That's why I used drink, and that's why I used drugs, and that's why I created a different character in my life, one that wasn't thoughtful, one that wasn't sensitive, but one that went against all of that, because I ran away from this feeling because I thought it was defective. And I felt a lot of shame actually because of it, because I didn't understand it. I'd never sort of tuned into it, and I'd always run away from it. And that's why I believe when I got to the age of like 24, I felt like I wasn't for this world. You know, I felt like I was different to people all the time, but because, you know, at my worst, I can't even watch like an intense film or an intense thing on the TV because I just get too tuned into it. Empaths, you'll find a lot of empaths like have a wide spectrum of music that they listen to, because they will listen to whatever music suits their kind of mood and their feeling all the time, because they're feeling everything deeply and they're in their emotions deeply, so their music will reflect that. And when you look at me today and the music that I listen to, I will often listen to stuff that's, when I'm trying to be calm and relaxed and escape, I will listen to music that doesn't have lyrics, because I get too caught up in listening to them and breaking them down and feeling, and I'll take on that emotion of some music that I'm listening to. So it becomes very heavy and it can become tedious. And if you look at what I've just explained over the last couple of minutes of talking about that, it's no wonder that people that struggle with it and haven't sort of looked at it and explored it and become comfortable with it, it's no wonder why they can feel like life is tireless. It's no wonder why they can feel like that being an empath is nothing but a poor attribute, and one that you wish you didn't have. And I still have times today, don't get me wrong, I just think I wish I was like everybody else and I didn't have to feel everything so deeply. But that's not my reality, right? And so when I reached that point when I nearly took my own life, you know, it had a lot to do with when I stopped drinking and stopped using drugs, and then I realized that I was taking on all these feelings and all these emotions, not only of my own but of everybody else's, and of course I was in complete overwhelm and in complete overload. So what's different today? Why do I feel like today is one of my greatest attributes? Well, because I've touched on it a lot actually, is that when I recognize that actually I can feel everybody's emotions on a deep level, it actually means that when things are good, when things are happy, and I'm in good people of a good nature, then it means that I can feel that on a deep level, and I can feel it, and it can be exciting, and it can feel good, and I can take on their happiness, right, and their feelings of joy, and so it can be good. And it also can be really good when I am trying to help people, when I'm trying to be there for people, because I can feel what they're feeling, I can feel their emotions, and I can listen on a much deeper level that goes way beyond words. It can help me with finding what to say and what to do and how to be when I'm around them people. So it becomes like this superpower, right? This amazing attribute. And when you start to manage it and start to realize ways of managing it, then it does become this great attribute. It does mean that, you know, certain situations, social situations, that I don't hang around long. I'll leave, you know, I'll go. But when I do that, then I have that self-awareness, and I'm very comfortable with who I am in my skin. And then so I don't put myself in them situations. I get to talk about it a lot more, so I talk a lot about how I take on other people's pain, and that, you know, and that helps me then to manage it and to control it. But it means I can be this person that I've always wanted to be, right? I start to embrace it. I start to embrace that emotion, that feeling, and I use it to my advantage so that I can be there for people. But it does mean that I need to shut off, you know, and like I said, mentioned with the music, I listen to certain types of music. I do need time to shut away from social media and that, because social media, when you're going through it, you can take on everybody's struggles and all their pain and their worries. So shutting off for that and making sure I look after myself and give myself time puts me in this amazing space. So being an empath can be an amazing thing, right? It's my greatest attribute, that, and it helps me to be the human that I am today, and that's very important, right? So I'd love to hear people's experiences. Share with me what it's like for you being an empath, and hopefully this video has helped you, and if it has, please like, and remember to subscribe. And I'd love, like I say, I want to hear what it's like for you being an empath. And just know that it's not a weakness, and when we control it and when we look to manage it, it can be the most amazing attribute out there. And look, reach out to me, discuss with me, explore it with me. I'd love to help you work out what being an empath means to you, and how it can really boost and energize your life when used to its best. And yeah, it's an amazing thing.